A common phrase that I've heard all my life is that there is a first time for everything. And you know what? That happens more frequently, I think, than we even realize. First times occur every day. Like you remember the first time that you fall on the ice and crack your head, you don't want to repeat that. So there's some bad first times, but then your first time going skiing, you may love it and want to do it over and over. Well, this video is full of first times. One not so great that occurred because of this big long winter we've been having. But then also last week, we had a series of first times for us as a family that I hope we get to do again and again. So life is just a collection of all those first times, and then you draw upon whether you want them to happen again or not. Thankfully, usually the good ones outweigh the bad ones. So we're gonna reflect on that, but first of all, I've got to get to work.
Dig Drive DIY!
So this building is what we call the block house, obviously because it's built out of cinder blocks. I don't know what the origins of this building are or why it was built here. Some think it maybe was a summer kitchen, but quite frankly, I don't know. It's divided into two halves. The front half is finished off real nicely. It has a wood burning stove in here, and the walls are thick and well insulated. It's actually insulated with corn cobs, and it's not hard to heat this area. Matter of fact, when we do burn the wood stove, it gets too hot. It's almost unbearable to be in here when the wood stove is going. And it doesn't burn very long because it doesn't have much capacity. So it's difficult to keep a fire going in here all the time to keep it heated. So we fall back to a radiant oil-filled heater. These are really nice. I like them. They have built-in thermostats, and for the most part, it keeps it above 40 degrees all winter long. The reason we have to keep this building heated is because our well is in here. Yes, it has a 20-foot deep well that's in the corner of the building. It's got a shallow well pump that pumps the water out of it, and this is where our pressure tank is. So we have to keep heat in here in order to keep it from freezing and maintain water in the house. Primarily, we just use this building for storage. It's somewhat of our garden shed, and we keep bicycles in here and hand tools and garden tools. And yeah, the cats live in here. So this is where we keep the cats. They have a nice posh lifestyle inside of this building. We like having water out here because we can fill the cats' water dishes, and then Kara fills watering cans. We use the water all the time. Now we've been living here for over 20 years, and somehow I've managed to never let this freeze and bust, but this year it got me. I thought I had it warm enough in here, but apparently not. This one was frozen and broke when we moved in, so we've never used the hot water side. This one, well, you saw it. I gotta see if I can get this patched up and working better. And this sink has always been tilted like this ever since we've moved in. So I'm gonna tackle the broken water line, and I'm gonna tackle the unlevel sink and see if we can get this fixed back up and working properly. So we kind of have a love-hate relationship with the block house. We love having this space. It's nice to keep it heated all winter long, but we also kind of hate that it's right in the middle of the yard and in front of the garage. But I don't know, if this building were to go away, we'd have to replace it with something because we do use it for storage. I'm gonna go ahead and take an opportunity, since it is 50 degrees outside and rainy, I'm gonna take the chance to work inside and see if we can get this fixed up. See, the drain is just a rubber tube that's connected and routed out through the back. So I might as well take that off of there. And then I think we're gonna have to lift this off the top. I might need a hand to do that. All right, that hose clamp looks like it's gonna be really tough to get off of there. And I got this cutoff tool at the farm show this year. Been waiting to try it. So this is a great opportunity. Gosh, that is nice. You know what? I'm not so sure if I want to use this vanity anymore. It's all rusted, and the bottom's all rusted out. Yeah, I couldn't level this up if I tried. This might be too far gone. It's not very functional. All it is it's a neat cabinet, but I think it's junk. Maybe I could just find a cheap vanity to replace it. My freeze and break is right here. That's where that froze and broke. This one's broke. This is hot water coming from the basement. And this is where it's got a T in it here where it goes into that wall faucet on the outside. We don't want to mess with that if I don't have to. But it does drip. So do I want to leave that alone, or do I want to try to Fix that. I don't know. I could just scab onto it here with a new water line. All right, so I pondered on it a little while, thought about what I should do out there in the blockhouse, and I made some decisions. I decided to replace all of the copper tubing with PEX pipe. The reason for doing that is that PEX pipe is much less likely to freeze and burst. Actually, it's almost burst proof. I don't want to say it's 100%, but the water can completely freeze inside the line, and the PEX will actually flex and allow for that water expansion and not break anything usually. Now, you're still at risk of breaking the fittings, but a lot of times there's enough flexibility in the plastic of the PEX itself that it won't crack the fittings. So my cousin is a plumber. I told him that I wanted to do a little experiment. I'd love to try to freeze 2 pieces of pipe the same length, one in copper, one in PEX, and just see which one cracks. He was kind enough to bring over a piece of copper pipe and a nice Milwaukee crimper tool to put the caps on the end. Okay, I've got my water-filled copper tube and my water-filled PEX tube. Let's put them in the freezer and see what happens. All right, we'll check back in on that at the end of the video, see if anything happens. I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out, I guess. I'm gonna gather up some tools and head on out to the blockhouse. It's actually been a couple of weeks since I last worked on this sink. I went to town that day fully expecting to find a replacement sink or a replacement vanity that I could put that top on. And I went to Menards and Home Depot and even Costco. I couldn't find anything locally. I shouldn't have been surprised, but looking online, exactly what we want is readily available. So we ordered it from Amazon. It's finally here. I haven't even opened the box yet, but a lot has happened in the last 2 weeks. This video is about first-time experiences. Well, this one was a bad first time, obviously, but we had a fantastic first-time experience last weekend. We got to go on a little road trip, and I can't wait to share with you what this was. So it is Valentine's Day. It's a Friday afternoon, and we are picking the girls up from school. Hey, girls. We've got a big road trip ahead of us, and well, it's a 6-hour drive, so we're just going to get down there. There's a really cool story on why we're doing this, and once we're there, I'll fill you in a little bit more. Okay, we are about 5 hours into our 6.5-hour drive. We figured we'd stop off at the famous Buc-ee's. Never been here before, but heard a lot about it. Aren't you girls excited to check out Buc-ee's? It's a destination gas station. Whoa. This place makes me think of Texas. It's like over the top big. But I guess this is America. For all of you overseas viewers that probably haven't seen one of these, this is something else. And for all of you guys here in the States that haven't been in one yet, you need to check it out. It's impressive. Super clean in here. There's people cleaning everywhere. It's amazing. Well, we met Bucky. I'm a fan. We'll have to come back. But let's get to where we're going, all right? It's time to keep rolling. So that was our first time ever visiting a Buc-ee's. I'd heard a lot about them, and I must say, I was impressed. It was so clean and just enormous. But we got gas at one of the 100 gas pumps or so that were there, jumped in the car, and then drove another hour south to Nashville, Tennessee, and that's where the rest of our weekend unfolds and takes place. But yeah, I think the sink is going to work out good in here. Kara was happy. That means I'm happy. So we made it in last night to Nashville, Tennessee. We are here for what will probably be one of the most memorable experiences we've ever had. It is going to be awesome. And I'm so excited for this opportunity. There's a great story behind it that I want to tell you about. But first, we're just going to explore Nashville a little bit. Thankfully, the rain let up because they were calling for rain all day. But this is where we're headed tonight. Bridgestone Arena. The girls will be going to their first ever concert tonight at Bridgestone Arena. So this is a cool town, man. I've never been here. I don't think we've ever been downtown. So we're just going to do a little walkabout, see what there is to see, get ready for tonight. Right there's where we're staying, on the 25th floor. Country Music Hall of Fame. Wow. Oh, there's Billy Strings, Lainey Wilson, Allison Russell. There's music playing out of this thing. It's a giant speaker, but it'll demonetize the video, so I gotta like block it out. I've never even been to an Apple store before. I'll have to check that out. Let's try out Apple Vision Pro. I've heard of it, but never tried it. The girls are really hating what I'm doing right now. You know how they do the YouTube, right?
I've always wanted to try.
Oh, you do? You have? She's always wanted to try one. All I've seen is YouTube videos on these, so I don't know what we're getting into. So I'm gonna press and hold to a line, it says.
Yep, sounds good.
I heard it. Oh, I can see you guys now. We're selecting dots. This is cool. This is welcome to Apple Vision Pro. How do I go up and down? Oh, 2 fingers. Look at that. 2 fingers together.
And then drag. There we go.
Whoa. It looks like we have depth, like,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild, isn't it? Like you can really see the depth.
Yeah.
We're getting close to where this could be like, look like real life. I mean, I can tell it's a photo or an image, but we're getting close.
And that's only for the photos. We haven't even got to the videos yet.
There we go. I got it full screen now.
And if you tap on the video, and then you see that mountain button in the top left?
Yeah.
If you tap that, and then you can, if you go into the moonlight, it will phase into.
Oh yeah, I'm watching my video. Oh my gosh, it's illuminating the surface of the moon. It's like a movie screen at the on the moon.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, so that was the Apple Vision Pro demo. It was phenomenal. If you haven't experienced that, you should try it out. We just came in here by accident on a whim, so thanks a lot, dude. Sultan?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Anytime, been a pleasure.
All right, we better go outside and see what else there is. Maybe it's done raining now. So yeah, visiting an Apple store was another first. I must say, the way they market their products and the way that store feels when you go in there, I can understand why they're so popular and why so many people follow. But that Apple Vision Pro, I'm telling you, that thing is the future. They're too expensive now to be commonplace, but in another 10 years from now, that's how we're all gonna be watching TV. Like it or not, it's pretty impressive. But anyway, back to the present. I spent a little time and got this sink all assembled. And you know what? It's a little chintzy, but for $260 from Amazon, I think that this is going to suit our needs just fine. If you're interested in one, I'll have a link down below in the description, but I think it's going to work out for the Black House, definitely. I've got to remove all this old plumbing, and that way I can get things set where they need to be. And then I'll need to do something about this baseboard because all those corn cobs are falling out the bottom. But while I work on that, I'll take you back to Nashville because we spent the rest of Saturday just walking around downtown and just taking in all the sights. Like I said, we've never been there before, so I've heard a lot about it, and it seems like the kind of place where I could hang out and spend quite a few weekends, actually. There's all kinds of honky-tonks and little bars. There's live music playing in every place you walk by that has music and food and beverages. It was just incredible to see live performers every other building that you walk by. We did some cowgirl boot shopping for Ella because she wanted a new pair of cowgirl boots. We did some jean shopping for Eva because she wanted her first pair of Levi's. We got some food downtown, which was nice. They had a great food court area where they had all kinds of selections available, and it was relatively affordable too. I was surprised by that. And then the rest of it was just kind of taking in the vibe. I kept saying multiple times that this felt like, you know, a place where I belong because people were just having a good time, listening to live music. There was people partying on the streets. There was all these buses and even these big trailers being pulled by tractors down the street of people just partying and just having fun. There was nothing to be worried about down there. So it was just a good vibe. And it really set the mood for what was coming on later that night. Man, such a cool town. We're gonna check out this, there's a gigantic footbridge to cross this river, so next to the Nissan Stadium. So we're gonna go check that out. Got some fake grass down here. The dogs are loving it. Nice park. Cool bridge. Oh, it's like an old train depot. All right, we spent the day shopping and exploring downtown Nashville a little bit. Fortunately, the rain held off, but we're gonna go back to the hotel, take a little rest, maybe check out the pool, and then we gotta go to the will call booth. And then I will explain to you what we're doing here in the first place, because I still can't believe it myself. For now, it's time to rest. So we went back to the hotel late that afternoon after walking around all day and getting to explore, because we were getting excited. The reason we were there for that concert that night was because of a viewer of Dig Drive DIY. A famous viewer, by the way. Probably the most famous viewer of Dig Drive DIY. Anyway, I'll get back to the Nashville story. I'm right here. I'm trying to finish up the sink. We'll get through this, and then we'll take you back there. So I'll catch you up on what's going on here. So the bottom of this wall had rotted away, and the wall is insulated with corn cobs, broken up corn cobs. And the corn cobs were falling out the bottom of the wall. And the more I messed with the wall, and the more you try to fix it and sweep it and clean it, the more that just keeps coming out the bottom. So I found some old boards that I wanted to put along the bottom for like a base trim. And the problem is the floor is really unlevel in here. So I had to nail the board to the wall with one nail, kind of level. And then I used a 1-inch thick piece of wood as a scribe. And I went along the bottom of the concrete, marked the board real carefully with a pencil so that I could account for the notch in the concrete. And then I cut that all out with a jigsaw so that I could scribe the bottom. Finally, put that up against the wall, and it fit really well. So I did the wall, and that will hopefully keep the corn cobs in. I know that it's wood against the concrete, and there's a chance that it could rot over time. But really, if I get 20 or 30 years out of it, we'll be all set. I don't think I got 20 or 30 years left in this building. I got this wall done. I got the back wall done back there with a nice piece of base trim. So that's all set. And now it's time to turn my attention to the plumbing. So the first thing I wanted to do was stub the wall hydrant out of the outside wall. I tried sticking a piece of copper through to the outside and then pushing the wall hydrant back through to kind of like chase it in through the wall, but I just could not get it to line up. So I ended up sticking the PEX through the wall all the way, cutting off the piece of PEX that I had already attached to the wall hydrant, and then re-crimped it on the outside, shoved it back through. So now I've got it stubbed out with a 90-degree turn down there. I'll hook onto that when I do the rest of my plumbing. Now I'm going to hook onto, this is the cold water line right here. I've got it all cleaned up. I used a piece of emery cloth to get that clean. I'm going to just use a shark bite style coupler to put on the copper. Now the PEX will just connect onto there, and we'll go that way. I've already got a valve right here for this. We'll go that way with our PEX. Our hot water line is coming from the basement right back there in the corner. See it stubbed up? That was the hot water line. We never used it. I'm not sure it's even going to work, but I'm going to hook onto that and bring hot water over here in case it does work. I'm just going to start plumbing this up, and then I'll show you where we're at. If you use those shark bite style couplers, you got to insert one of these into the PEX before you insert it. All right, I got those plumbed up. And for anyone that always accuses me of being OCD, you can see I left those a little bit out of alignment with each other because it was going to be a little bit of a hassle to get them squared up. So there's me fighting my OCD. It really doesn't matter. But I had to use a lot of crazy adapters. So the sink that I ordered from Amazon apparently has some kind of goofy supply line in that it has a 1/2-inch FIP connector like this. And I can't get a PEX to an FIP type of valve. So I had to do this valve and a 3/8 union. And anyway, it was a lot of crazy connectors. I had a lot of great help from the gal at Menards that found all these fittings for me to make it work. Surprisingly, I think I might get away with this project with only 2 trips to Menards, so that is impressive. But I'm ready to set the sink in there, connect up the supply lines, hook in the drain, and then see if we got any leaks. Well, here is the few simple tools and materials that you're going to need to do this installation. not bad. That constitutes about 12 trips to the shop, probably more. But the sink is finally installed. Got the drain routed over there. Comes out right there on top of that drain. We're going to see how that works. It always has worked well in the past, but I went ahead and screwed it down and attached it to the drain cover right there so it can't move around. Now for the part I really dread, turning on the water and seeing if it works. We'll go ahead and do the cold first. Oh, that's cold. Oh, we're leaking right there. Okay, the drain's leaking. All right, looking good on the cold side now. Nothing's leaking. The drain's dried up now. Now I'm gonna go down into the basement where we've got a water line ran all the way down underneath and hooked into the mana block. Turn the hot water on down there, see what happens up here. So you guys let me know if it's leaking, because I gotta go clear down there and back. It's a no-go. Our hot water dreams are dashed. The hot water is actually leaking down in the basement where the pipe goes down through the floor. It must be leaking in the ground and filling up into the basement and spilling out on the floor. So that's a no-go. No hot water from the house out to here. But there's a lot of on-demand hot water solutions, and we've got power right here readily available. So if we really, really want hot water out here, easy to tap into our PEX line that we've already put in and put in maybe a on-demand water heater. So I'm really hoping that that PEX line is better than copper in those situations, and if it ever gets away from me again and wants to freeze up, it doesn't burst. But time will tell. Now though is the time to get back to Nashville. Okay, we're all getting suited up, ready to hit the town. Going over to the Bridgestone Arena to see tonight's show. We got to get tickets though first. Hopefully they're in will call. All right, so here's the deal. I got this message from a viewer on Instagram. It said, Neil, this is really random, but I'm a fan of your channel. I like what you do. I play the fiddle in a band, and you know, you strike me as the kind of guy that would be interested in live music, or you might want to see a show of ours. I was like, heck yeah. He goes, we're going to be coming close to your region first part of the year, and if you want to, I'll offer up some tickets for you and your family and some backstage passes. I said, heck yeah. He said the tickets are going to be in will call, so we're just headed up that way right now to see if they're there, and then we'll see how things proceed. I can't wait to meet Jody Bartula. Oh yeah, who does he play the fiddle for? Cody Johnson. If you don't know who Cody Johnson is, you should look him up. Some of the most inspirational and moving songs that I've heard on country radio. So Jody Bartula plays fiddle for Cody Johnson, and we're here to check him out. So looking for will call tickets for Neil Kof. How cool is this? We're at a giant concert. So the girls' first concert. Kara and I have never been to a concert, I don't think, since we've been married. Well, we've been to a Christmas concert. This is something. We got to put these armbands on. Okay, let's check out the arena. Whoa. That is awesome. Our seats are right down there. All right, we found our seats. We're in section 4, row 11. We're right here close to the stage. This is phenomenal seats. I don't know, I haven't experienced anything quite like this. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? We're so close. Stage is right there. Okay, so we showed up a little bit early, and I'm gonna call Jody and let him know that we're here, and then we might get to go backstage and meet him and hang out for a minute. So that's pretty cool too. Should I call him? I'm very nervous. So we finally got to meet up with Jody and his wife. That was fantastic. Thanks so much for the hospitality. We're backstage just getting to see what there is to see, and the concert's going to be starting pretty soon. So what an experience. I tell you, I don't know if we're going to be able to ever go to another concert and have it be the same, because this is fantastic. So, all right, we'll check in when we get into the concert.
From Huntsville, Texas, Cody Johnson!
That's Jody. So when Jody reached out and gave me a choice of tickets for any venue that they were playing, there were a couple shows that were closer to home, but he said pick any one. So I got greedy. And I chose a Nashville show, just because, well, if you've got a chance, take it. Take it while you've got the chance. That's what this entire experience was about. There is arguably no better place to see live country music than in this town. The added bonus to seeing a show of this caliber in Nashville is that you're likely to see some other favorites too, and these guys didn't disappoint. Carrie Underwood is here. We got to see Carrie Underwood. That is something. Yeah, Carrie Underwood showed up to perform her current duet with Cody, and when she walked out on stage, it was probably the loudest moment of the entire concert. The fans went insane. The night went by so quickly that it's almost a blur, but we got the VIP treatment for sure. And I can't thank Jody enough times for being gracious enough to offer up this opportunity. With our wristbands, we were able to walk right up to the stage, and we were even able to go backstage during and after the concert. I was completely awestruck with it the entire time, and I really couldn't believe that the guy up there on stage, sawing that fiddle like a boss in front of tens of thousands of people, was a DDD viewer. It just stands to prove that we all have more in common than what we might think, and that viewers come from all walks of life, in places all around the world, and of varied occupations, and interests, and backgrounds. It was just very humbling to be invited by a viewer, and I'm still grinning about it. So we enjoyed the rest of the show, singing along, and not realizing how quickly 90 minutes can pass you by.
Do you want more?
The concert ended with an encore, including another famous country music star, Luke Combs, and that was incredible. But just like that, it was all over. We got to go backstage one last time after the concert to say our goodbyes and our thank yous to Jody, and then we just walked back to the hotel and tried our best to fall asleep. Good time. Well, I must say that first time trip to Nashville was such a memorable experience that I don't think we'll ever forget it. I can't thank Jody enough for providing that opportunity to our family, and we've all got some core memories. The first time for the water lines freezing in the blockhouse, that's something I hope I forget, but it's all fixed up. Hopefully it's kind of freeze-proofed to some degree now moving forward. Kara spent the whole morning getting it all cleaned up in there. It looks so nice. She cleaned the mirror. She swept up the floor, the things that I kind of just run away from when it's all done. But she's got it looking nice in there, so hopefully that'll serve us for many more years to come. We've got some work to do in the spring once it gets warm enough to work outside on those blocks and that wall hydrant, but we'll get to that. Really the only thing left to do is to check on my little science experiment here in the freezer and see how those pipes came out of it. Oh yeah, looky there. This is frozen solid, but I don't see any visible damage. Copper line broke the fitting, broke the cap. That's where I expected it to fail. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty strong argument for using PEX plumbing in areas where it freezes like it does here. Plus I don't know how to sweat copper and do all that anyway. All right, so PEX 1, copper 0. That tells me all I need to know right there. You know what, I think I'll just keep this around. There's water inside of there. Maybe I'll just leave it outside and see if it ever does freeze and break. I doubt it though. If this was your first time watching one of my videos, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back. If you've been here for many of them, thank you so much for watching. You know what, if I'm lucky, I'll see you in the next one. It's so nice not to have to hide the dump truck anymore. Take care.